This is Texas News Now, sponsored by Germania Insurance.
I'm Teresa Woodard with a look at your North Texas headlines. A special election in Tarrant County is getting national attention. Democrat Taylor Remitt beat Republican Lee Wamsgans in a special election to fill an unexpired term in State Senate District 9. Remitt won with 57% of the vote. Now, this is a traditionally red district that covers northern Tarrant County and cities like Southlake, Keller, North Richland Hills. Wamsgans said on social media, quote, "This was a wake-up call for Republicans in Tarrant County, Texas, and the nation. The Democrats were energized. Too many Republicans stayed home," she said. Remitt thanked supporters in a video on his Facebook page.
Everybody, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being involved and helping with this campaign. Tonight, this win goes to everyday working people.
Now, Remitt will be serving the remainder of Kelly Hancock's term. Hancock was appointed acting comptroller of the state of Texas. Both Remitt and Wamsgans are running unopposed in next month's primary, so they will be facing off again this fall, both hoping to secure a full 4-year term in the state Senate. And a reminder, today is the deadline to register to vote in the March 3rd primary. Forms are available at votetexas.gov. Early voting for the primary election runs from February 17th to the 27th. An assisted living facility in Fort Worth was evacuated Sunday morning because of a fire. This happened in a 5-story building on Sondra Drive. Firefighters were able to get everybody out, but a few of them had to be treated for smoke inhalation. No other injuries were reported, and the cause of the fire remains under investigation. 3 people died when a home caught fire in Parker County. It started around 1 o'clock Saturday morning in Weatherford. Richard Solomon spoke with fire officials about their investigation.
Early Saturday morning,
Weatherford Fire Department got the call for a residential structure fire.
Weatherford Fire says tragedy crept onto Stone Ridge Trail.
Crews learned that 3 individuals remained in the building.
Officials say the fire started before 1 a.m. Neighbors tell us thick smoke filled the air, with flames visible from blocks away. Weatherford Fire Chief Wes McBride says firefighters from both the city and Parker County rushed in, pulling 3 people from the home and immediately rendering aid. He says sadly, they died. Crews rushed 1 other family member to the hospital.
It's a loss to the community. It's a loss to the neighborhood.
We spoke with neighbors who understandably were not ready to share their thoughts yet with us on camera, but they did tell me the family that lived here was so kind and they cared and loved for this community. Some neighbors we spoke with say they saw flames bursting from the roof of this house.
Neighbors say the family has lived here for years, and right now they're still struggling to understand how this happened. McBride says the cause of the fire is still under investigation. And as answers are still days, maybe weeks away, neighbors say their focus right now is on remembering the lives lost. In Weatherford, I'm Richard Solomon.
A North Texas cheer team honored a Frisco teenager who was killed in a sledding accident. You probably heard right there, Express Cheer shouted out Gracie Brito's name before their routine at the American Cheerleaders Association Grand Nationals competition on Saturday. And here they are after their performance, just breaking down in tears. Brito and Elizabeth Engel died January 25th. Frisco police say they were in a sled that was being pulled by a Jeep. They hit a curb and then crashed into a tree. They were both sophomores at Frisco ISD's Wakeland High School. White Settlement police are looking for suspects in a deadly shooting, and they believe they could be teenagers or young adults. This happened on Meadow Park Drive Friday afternoon. Adriana De Alba spoke with neighbors about what they saw.
In broad daylight,
about 5-6 gunshots.
A woman gunned down in her White Settlement home, her mom and children inside.
The mother came out screaming that her daughter was shot.
Douglas Boswell says he ran across the street to help.
She was bleeding out and stuff.
Police say the woman was shot several times.
My understanding, pretty serious injuries.
The shooting happened just after 3 on Friday afternoon along Meadow Park Drive.
I asked the cop all ago.
Boswell, who was working nearby,
Witness things and stuff like that.
says he treated her wounds until an ambulance rushed her away.
It's just gotta do what you have to do.
Police say the woman later died. Neighbor surveillance video captured the moment gunshots went off. The suspects seen running out of the home. Police releasing these photos of the suspects.
We believe there were 2 to 3, either late teens, maybe young adults. They were dressed in dark clothing. They had hooded sweatshirts, and unfortunately their faces were covered.
Police say the suspects went into the house through a side door. After the shooting, they got into a green car and fled. Officers conducting a wide search for the suspects.
White Settlement police tell us this is the second time there has been a shooting at the same house. Different victim, but the same home. And police tell us the last shooting was over a vape sale.
Police say the shooting is believed to be isolated.
It's very rare in our town anyway to have a stranger just come up and shoot someone in their house. And so usually there's more motive.
Tonight, that motive is still unknown. Meanwhile, the victim's family is processing a loss.
It's sad.
In White Settlement, I'm Adriana D'Alba.
The city of Dallas says it will comply with an order to remove decorative crosswalks, and that includes rainbow crosswalks like the one in Oak Lawn. Last year, Governor Greg Abbott ordered the removal of any street markings that represent political ideologies. Dallas filed for an exception, but TxDOT rejected the city's appeal. The city says 30 crosswalks will now be removed or corrected within the next 90 days. The car wash certainly seems the busiest place to be after last week's snow and ice. Drivers just trying to get all of that brine and sand and salt off of their cars. And Dia Wall shows us why you shouldn't wait to wash it all away.
This car wash prepped before the storm.
Obviously, we've got to drain all the water from the tunnel. That way, in the event case scenario that we lose the electricity, my water won't freeze.
To be ready for this after.
Today, 1 o'clock, we already washed 600 cars. 600 so far right now. Hopefully we break the record today. I'm shooting for about 1,500.
I believe it. Oh, I believe it probably even more. I mean, this place gets busy when it's pretty weather, but it's busier after bad weather for sure.
Jesus Arauco brought his mom's car in.
It looks like a mess. It looked like a mess, and now it looks amazing.
AAA says the salt normally used in the brine to treat North Texas roads during winter weather can damage the paint, but it can also cause rust on the undercarriage. That puts your brake lines, exhaust, fuel tanks, and electrical connections at risk. It's also why at Carnation Auto Spa, the wash starts a bit sooner.
We're prepping the back of the tunnel. We're removing the sand and the stuff out of the car before we bring it in the tunnel. So as you can tell, my cars on the way out, they are clean, really clean and dry.
Providing peace of mind before more Arctic air blows in.
And I just want to make sure she's safe, be able to, have clean tires and be able to see what's down and what's not.
In Dallas, I'm Dia Wall.
And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Hi there, Mia Gradney here with a look at what's making headlines in Houston, starting with a Houston family who is outraged after their 4-year-old pre-K student was allowed to leave elementary school in a stranger's car, even after telling staff she didn't know the driver. The girl is back home safely, but her mother says Houston ISD's response falls short and raises serious questions about dismissal procedures. Katera Winfrey has more in her message to parents.
I'm told only the mother or father has picked up the girl since the school year began. So her mother says that should have been a key indicator, along with her daughter reportedly telling that school employee she didn't know the driver.
I don't know how I can ever trust HISD again.
Bastion Elementary School for Deja Spencer's family is now tied to trauma. Her 4-year-old preschool daughter, Brielle Davis, she says, was allowed to leave school with a stranger.
It shouldn't be no way that a random person can come pick up the child with no fact check, no ID, no anything.
Spencer says she teaches her daughter no one other than mommy or daddy picks you up from school, and her daughter told the dismissal staff as much, but was still placed in a stranger's car, carrying other children and driven off campus.
He looked me in my face and told me that my child told him that that wasn't a car. And for me, that was kind of like a slap in the face because you disregarded her feelings.
In a statement, Houston ISD said an employee mistakenly placed a pre-K student in the wrong car with a group of students. As the parent who was driving was leaving the campus, they realized what happened and drove around the school to return the student. The district says the child was immediately returned and stayed with staff while her parents were notified.
I had got no notification. Nobody gave me no incident report. I had got anything from nobody. My 4-year-old daughter had to let me know personally that she was placed in somebody else's car.
The staff member involved is no longer on dismissal duty, and the district says dismissal procedure for Brielle has been updated, but Spencer says she won't be returning.
I feel like they want to minimize the issue because she was returned back to me, but y'all don't know what we go through at home. She was crying. She's telling me verbatim that she's scared. So as a mother, I don't know how to feel.
That mother tells me as a precaution, she did take her daughter to the doctor to be checked out, and that little girl is physically okay. Reporting in Houston, Katira Winfrey, KHOU 11 News.
Mothers whose sons died while in custody are speaking out as the Harris County Jail moves to hire more jailers. They say the real need is medical and mental health care, not more guards. Aniele Ruiz has more on what family members are saying and how county leaders are responding.
The Harris County Jail at one point was so full, inmates had to be outsourced to out-of-town facilities. They were sent to facilities in Louisiana, Mississippi, and one in Beaumont. Now Harris County is trying to bring them back.
It requires more supervision in those areas. So the 300 that we brought back from Mississippi.
And to bring them back, the county says it needs to hire more jailers, 131 to be exact. But mothers who lost their sons while in Harris County custody feel the investment is not right.
The jailers are not equipped to handle people that have mental illness.
For Sarah Knight, it's personal because she lost her son, Jaylene Anderson, while in custody. She feels like more investment needs to go to medical and mental health.
He had 6 repeated continual seizures back to back to back in this facility. And Harris County is responsible because you all shipped him there.
Anderson died while he was in Louisiana at the outsourcing facility, but county commissioners say this investment in jailers needs to be done in order to prevent more out-of-state deaths.
This is necessary in order to make our jail safer and in order to bring more folks home.
And county commissioners have voted to approve the hiring.
That was Aniele Ruiz reporting for us. Now to residents in a Katy area neighborhood who say they are sick and tired of big rigs parking on their streets. And they say repeated complaints to county officials haven't led to any change. So our Maria Aguilera went to the Lake Crest neighborhood in West Harris County to see if she could help find a solution.
I mean, it's not an industrial park. It's just not.
Neighbors in the Lake Crest subdivision say this has been an ongoing issue. 18-wheelers parked along their street.
This has been going on for over a year.
Gina Simmons, a resident here, reached out to KHOU 11 looking for solutions.
This is just an invitation for everybody to park here. It's like, hey, look at all these trucks that are parked here.
She said she contacted Precinct 4. They responded quickly, conducting a traffic study and adding a no parking sign in December near the entrance to the neighborhood. But neighbors say the problem continues.
He's already violating a sign.
Some trucks are still parking even past that no parking sign.
Neighbors say the traffic here is their biggest concern. They tell me when the road narrows into the neighborhood, these trucks can block visibility, causing safety issues for drivers.
In that side, for example, I don't see anything, you know.
Neighbors say it is especially a concern during busy traffic times.
This comes from 4 lanes into 2 lanes real quick, right where these trucks are parked.
You can have an accident because trucks, you don't have visibility.
What would you want the solution to be?
Just remove, just not allow them to park here.
The solution is that the Harris County put the good sign that said no commercial trucks.
Residents fed up with the trucks made a call to the sheriff's office, and tonight we saw one truck not following the no parking sign get towed away. They tell me they just want the trucks out of here entirely. We're looking into what can be done for this community. In Katy, Maria Aguilera, KHOU 11 News.
A group of 6-year-old children in South Korea are making a big impression here in Houston, all because of their love for the Houston Texans. Their English teacher, a native Houstonian, uses Texans highlights in class to help teach language. And a few weeks ago, we shared their story ahead of the playoff game. Turns out the Texans were watching. Sherman Chow shows us how that moment turned into a surprise these kids will never forget.
Who do we play next on Monday?
The Steelers! I first zoomed with the 6-year-olds in South Korea ahead of that wild card game. They'd been studying the weekly game highlights all year, courtesy of their coach and English teacher.
It got put on the news in Houston, Texas. Guess who saw it? The football team. Yeah! They said you saw it.
Yeah! Each child got a really cool shirt, plus...
Oh my goodness! What is it? They also said you tell us. Okay,
UT Denton and Memorial High School grad and Texans fan Alex Ramirez demonstrated. The kids are fast learners. The bottomless box also had a little love from Toro.
Sent us a book, our favorite thing!
Along with a note.
Miss Ramirez, we saw the adorable video of your students supporting the Texans. We appreciate the love here in H-Town. All the best and go Texans!
The next day, the kids suited up in their brand new gear to watch the wild card game highlights.
Finished? It's finished. We lose? We lost.
But in the immortal words of fans from America to Asia, there's always next year. So for a great season and a great Texans shout-out,
Talk about the cutest H-Town global takeover ever. Such fun. And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Gradney.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
We are expected to have a bit of a milder stretch of weather across the Lone Star State as we start off our Monday. I'm meteorologist Andy Mead. We're going to be more so into the 60s and 70s throughout much of the Lone Star State as we go on throughout much of the day. I think we'll go around 64 into Austin, 60 in DFW, hitting around near 70 towards Lubbock. We'll have a few clouds, but I think we'll have more sunshine in between, especially along north of the I-20 corridor. But we'll begin to see some clouds begin to increase as we go on throughout much of the week, with a few opportunities of a few showers that's going to try to sneak in with a kind of couple week cool fronts. There'll be some breezier conditions, especially as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Waking up this morning, we're going to be back into some low to middle 30s, hitting around 36 in Austin. We'll reach the freezing point into Midland around 32 degrees, even maybe some upper 20s up and towards the mountains of West Texas. 37 over into Amarillo. We'll be around 32 heading into DFW. High temperatures, we're going to be looking at more of those kind of middle to near upper 60s, especially some 70s down, and you head down towards South Texas in the Valley and the Coastal Bend. We'll hit around 70 into Corpus Christi up into near I-35 in the Hill Country, hit around 65 into Killeen and 64 along into Austin. Working through your week ahead, we're going to work with a handful amount of clouds, pretty much overcasting throughout much of the state today, with a few maybe isolated showers up into the Davis Mountains. Try to push in towards San Antonio, but I think most of us are relatively going to stay dry and actually rather comfortable as as we go into about much of Monday. Pushing it over into Tuesday, we'll start seeing some northerly winds begin to build in up into the Panhandle, pointing towards West Texas. We'll have a little bit of a cool front that's going to help produce a little bit of some showers, especially east of the I-35 corridor, pushing in towards near East Texas and North Texas, along into portions of South Texas as well. I think the rainfall is going to be rather light, maybe pick up an additional ½ an inch of rain could be possible, but the heaviest portions look to remain a little bit more east of us, and that will move out by the time we head into around late Tuesday, pushing into early Wednesday. We're going to be working again with a bit more of those kind of middle to near upper 60s for daytime highs as we go on throughout much of Wednesday, as we'll get another cool front that will come behind that first initial one that will overall bring in some breezier conditions across the Lone Star State. I'm stopping the clock around 12 p.m. on Tuesday. We'll get that cold front that will come through. We'll have those gusty winds coming in from the north around 20 to 30 miles per hour across portions of West Texas into the Panhandle along into near the I-35 corridor. We could have a gust near 30 into Killeen around 12 p.m. We'll have this first little cool front that will move through. The winds will calm down gradually throughout much of the day on Tuesday. We'll be able to see a little bit more of those kind of calmer winds, and then we're going to pick up again as we head into around Wednesday. We're going to have another cold front that is going to come through the region, and we'll have more of those gustier winds throughout much of the day on Wednesday. That cold front will actually bring some cooler temperatures into the forecast. Over into West Texas, we'll see improvements. We'll go from around 70 heading into El Paso on Monday. We'll drop around to near 59. Same song and tune into Midland. We'll be around into those middle 60s, dropping it to around 55 heading into around Wednesday. We're not going to see a whole lot of improvements in terms of temperatures. We're going to stay rather mild, even a little humid at times into portions of central Texas, especially pointing south. Really not going to be affected too much, at least when it comes in terms of the cold front. We'll drop a little bit in terms of temperatures. We'll see a little bit of some cooling temperatures into North Texas, with really a bit more in the way of some increasing clouds as well into portions of East Texas, especially on Tuesday. That's when I think we'll have some of the most cloud cover with a few isolated to kind of widely scattered chances of storms, with relatively a bit more of some 70s and 80s throughout much of the valley as we head into the middle of the week. We're going to still stick with this broad area of low pressure. That's going to stick with us as we head about into the middle of the week, into the late week, as this ridge of dome of high pressure is relatively going to stay in control, mostly well off into the west of us, but relatively going to keep us into more of this broad pattern of low pressure. With this, that area of high pressure, at least off into the west, we'll get into a pattern at least by the middle to the end of the week where we could be able to see some dry flow, and with that, I think temperatures will be able to stay relatively above normal with a bit more of a isolated, the kind of widely scattered, kind of more so above normal precipitation chance up into portions of West Texas, but overall dry conditions the more further east that you go. This is within about the next 8 to 14 days. Working it throughout the next 7 across the Lone Star State, we're going to see an opportunity of some isolated, the kind of widely scattered showers heading into around late Tuesday into Wednesday. Temperatures are relatively going to cool down a little bit more heading into Wednesday. A lot more of us will see a mix of some 50s and 60s. We'll warm up gradually though as we head in towards the end of the week. As high pressure, we're going to at least feel the effects of it beginning to build back in, with temperatures relatively staying mild and actually near normal for this time of year, with a mix of 60s and 70s by the weekend.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
In Austin, I'm Darrenisha Heron. A group of Democratic lawmakers called thousands to East Austin to rally against ICE. It's part of the ongoing national outcry against the federal agency as the immigration crackdown continues. Daniel Gomez tells us on the ground, the message from protesters can be heard loud and clear. They will continue to rally until there's change.
ICE out now! ICE out now! The rally cries against ICE continue to be heard in Austin.
I say that all of those children should be released, that all of those people with no criminal record should be released, that Kristi Noem has abused the Constitution and she should be impeached, and that ICE should be disbanded immediately.
Democratic Texas lawmakers organized a rally at Pan American Neighborhood Park Saturday afternoon. Congressman Joaquin Castro recently met with Liam Ramos and his father at Dilley Detention Center in Texas. The boy is at the center of international headlines after ICE detained him and his father from their Minnesota home. State Representative James Tallarico, who is running for U.S. Senate, believes these rallies are a way to end the ICE operation surge.
I think you just saw we mobilized 5,000 people to show up here to make their voices heard. We're seeing this kind of direct action all over the state, all over the country, and this is just the beginning.
Some of those at the protest agree.
We're all Americans at some point, right? And we come from a different background. So this isn't just a fight that's going to go away. It's going to be something that we all have to learn to live with and make our voice known, so that, you know, the inhumanity is not something that's prevalent, but rather the humanity that we bring.
Vote them out! Vote them out!
And some say they're not ready to quit showing up anytime soon.
In Spanish, we say fuera!
That latest round of protesting coming as Governor Greg Abbott calls for an investigation into Austin ISD. Students have staged multiple walkouts recently, also against ICE operations. Some parents and teachers are not happy about a proposal to create a mandatory reading list for K-12 students in Texas. The list ranges from nursery rhymes and poems about U.S. presidents in early grades to classical literature in later grades. It also includes direct passages from the Christian Bible. KVUE's Daniel Perot tells us the State Board of Education was set to vote on the plan last week, but board members say they wanted to get more feedback from Texans before moving forward.
Faced with a proposed list of nearly 300 readings for K-12 students, the State Board of Education pumping the brakes.
I am aware there are some suitability flags with some of the materials.
The board voted 13-1 to delay the vote until April so it can review the list more. Board member Brandon Hall was the lone dissent, arguing it's important for students to read classical literature.
If we approve it now, it will help our schools be able to implement it in a more timely manner.
The TEA says it developed the list by surveying Texas teachers and looking at what other states and organizations use in the classroom. The list includes childhood favorites and classical literature across a range of genres, but it also includes some religious excerpts with a Christian focus. Tiffany Perkins is a mom of 6 and an English teacher who's running for a seat on the SBOE.
If literary exposure to the Bible is the point, then we would also be including other religious traditions.
Perkins calls the list outdated. While it includes work from authors like Frederick Douglass and Langston Hughes, critics say it's not enough because the majority of Texas students are Hispanic and Black.
It's very white male-centric. No Hispanic authors, 9th through 12th grade. 11th grade, when they teach American literature, no women authors.
Parents could opt their children out of reading any text they object to. Those students could still be tested on that material. Educators say it leaves little room for teachers to pick readings that meet individual students' needs. Some board members voiced support for paring the list down.
I think we will be spending too much time learning content versus thinking.
The board also voted Friday to move forward with changes to how public schools teach social studies, shifting from a model where each grade focuses on either U.S. history, Texas history, or world cultures to one where students get a blend of all three each year. Perkins says she feels the changes won't prepare students for a global society.
Prepares them for a very narrow worldview that is very centric within the borders of Texas.
Criticism of the proposed reading list comes after the State Board of Education signed off on allowing the controversial Bible-infused Bluebonnet English curriculums here in Texas classrooms. School districts can choose whether or not to implement it, but if they do use it, they get financial incentives. Roughly 1 in 4 Texas school districts use the curriculum. And starting today, you'll see construction crews at work along Congress Avenue. Phase 1 of the Congress Avenue Urban Design Initiative is underway and won't wrap up until next year. KVUE's Allison Martinez explains what you can expect downtown in the meantime.
Construction crews are moving into a new stretch of downtown Austin, Congress Avenue. For the next 18 months, this noise will be the soundtrack of your walk or drive through the heart of the city. Mayor Kirk Watson says it's a short-term inconvenience for a long-term upgrade.
We're managing great success in Austin, and with that, we have moments where you truly do almost have to break an egg to make an omelet.
Block by block, construction crews are beginning the first phase of the Congress Avenue Urban Design Initiative.
This project is made possible by our voters by approval of the 2020 Mobility Bond Project, and it will focus on a complete redesign of Congress Avenue.
The goal is to make your experience downtown better. More space to walk, safer conditions to bike, and better opportunities to enjoy local businesses and the outdoors at the same time.
Could be amazing. I know they've done that on other streets and how to incorporate more pedestrian life, more walkability. Would be lovely to see that.
Others we spoke to say improvements should focus on easing traffic for the growing number of drivers on the road, not pedestrians on the sidewalk. The project includes removing some parking spaces, which city leaders say will have minimal impacts to businesses, but the city will give them grants to help them get by.
We're really focused on getting those businesses the assistance they need just to help them get through the construction period.
The construction will also affect eastbound traffic on Cesar Chavez at Congress.
With any construction project, you are going to have impacts to travel, so we would just ask our traveling public to make adjustments to their plans accordingly.
Construction crews will move north one block at a time.
There we go.
City leaders say when the dust settles and the sounds of construction fade, a reimagined Congress Avenue will be worth the wait. Reporting in Austin, Allison Martinez, KVUE News.
Those are the headlines here in Austin. I'm Darrenisha Heron.
I'm Bill Churchwell in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening in South Texas. An incident at Carroll High School is drawing attention after a confrontation involving students and police. A video of the response that day is prompting questions from parents while district officials try to shed light on what happened. After 2 students were arrested and a few others pepper sprayed. Now some parents believe it went too far. Ryan Hopper reports.
The initial arrest took place, then a melee ensued. An assault occurred. The person seen in the video was identified as the assailant. And so preventing a lawful injury to another person or a third party or to maintain discipline in a group is one of the standards for use of force.
You can see the boy who authorities say intervened in the initial arrest in the purple hoodie. But unlike his friend who was being detained, he was charged with assaulting a public servant, a third-degree felony. His mother, who wished not to be identified, disagrees.
My mother-in-law called me saying if I saw the videos of my son being attacked by 3 adults, and I said no, and she said, I'm going to send them to you. I'm shaking. Have they called you, the school? Have they called my husband? And I said no, and she said okay, so she sent them to me. And I immediately got terrified because I hadn't gotten a call. I was wondering what was happening with them.
She says administrators, including the school's assistant principal, who can be seen on the video body slamming her son, were evasive when she got there. The mom tells me it wasn't until hours later that those same campus officials finally told her that her son was at the Nueces County Juvenile Detention Center, where he wound up being held overnight.
I didn't know if he had eaten. I was scared he was hurt. I couldn't sleep all night. I was completely restless until, I'm actually so tired now, until this morning because I wanted my son home. We wanted our son home.
She cites a lack of transparency and excessive force as reasons why her family is also considering legal action, while Warnke maintains that this could have all been easily avoided.
This is a sad event. If the student involved would have simply followed instructions and just left as per the administration's directives, it probably wouldn't have devolved to this.
Ryan Hopper, 3 News.
The search continues for missing teen Bailey Reese, who hasn't been seen in nearly 2 weeks. Local nonprofit South Texas Search and Rescue is focusing its efforts in downtown Corpus Christi after several possible reported sightings. Our Lydia Herrera has more on the challenges the team is facing.
This is Bailey Reese. She went missing a little over 14 days now.
Volunteer Amy Conchola is not stopping.
You see her, you let us know.
Until she locates Bailey Reese.
And seeing these families and how distraught they are when they have a missing person, especially her being so young, this is the reason why we need to hit it really hard.
The team spent Saturday driving through downtown Corpus Christi, following up on tips and possible sightings.
We actually had phone calls yesterday, so they were hitting a lot of locations down the Staples towards the City Hall near that bus station. And then, of course, they're saying maybe bus route 27 is an area where that bus stops. So those are some of the locations that we're going to.
Sergeant Danny Galvez says when a child is missing, every minute matters.
Children are a very special case because they're part of our most vulnerable population. A lot of times kids don't know how to survive out there on the streets, and they get taken advantage of by adults that are in similar situations.
One flyer after another. Conchola and her team are urging the community to stay alert, especially with the freeze expected to hit South Texas this weekend.
We've actually coordinated with some of the warming shelters, so we're out during the day trying to see if we can spot her, and then we do come out at night as well because that's when people are starting to find locations to get warm. And we see individuals, if we have to, we'll ask them if they need a ride, get to the warming shelters, because we don't want anybody out there, hurting themselves or getting in any trouble like that.
Bailey's grandparents say she depends on several medications for mental health. Conchola says that drives the urgency locating her.
No one's upset. They just want to get you home safe, and you got to be very careful when you're out on these streets.
And that's a quick look at some of what's happening in South Texas.
I'm Adriana Alexander. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. A father of two in China Spring is now severely injured after a bad fall during last week's ice storm. He laid paralyzed on frozen ground for nearly an hour before someone helped. 6 News reporter Juliana Jackson spoke with the family about his long and uncertain healing journey and the Good Samaritan who saved him.
On January 27th, during the height of the ice storm, John Robinson went to work as usual. When his job finished early because of the weather, a coworker dropped him off at home.
As he pulled away, he had slipped and fell. He hit the very back of his head, and it immediately crushed his spinal between C3 to C5.
Robinson was paralyzed, unable to move or call for help. Nearly an hour later, Benjamin Smith drove by.
The guy laying there on the ground, not moving, back behind his vehicle. Yelled out to him. I said, "Hey, are you okay?" He said, "No, I need help. I can't move."
Smith, an Orkin pest control technician, called 911 and stayed with Robinson until paramedics arrived.
So if he could move his legs, he said, "I can't feel my legs. I can't move."
Robinson was rushed to Hillcrest Hospital and underwent surgery January 28th. On January 30th, Robinson's wife told us the swelling around his spinal cord isn't going down. Robinson is now on a feeding tube. Family friend Jessica Bruner says Robinson is a man who loves his family and his community.
Like my second dad since 2nd grade, and he's a workaholic. I mean, he works every day except for Sunday since before I was born.
Robinson faces at least 60 days in the ICU, followed by 6 months of rehabilitation. As for Benjamin Smith, he says stopping to help was the right thing to do.
From that point forward, I've always tried to, I'm always going to stop, Texans, we always trying to look out for each other.
Now, when 6 News first told viewers about a local Jeep club gearing up to help during last week's ice storm, people from across Central Texas reached out for help. Tonight, Juliana Jackson checked back in with the Jeep club, who says their efforts led to saving lives.
A lot of my members that jumped up and was coordinated for us and calling us out, this person needs help here.
Jeep left behind.
6 News first told you about the Central Texas Outlaw Jeep Club and how they were offering free rides for essential workers and people in need during the winter storm. President Todd Kavanaugh promised they'd be there for the community. Well, the calls for help started immediately and didn't stop. One nurse told 6 News the club stepped up and got multiple nurses to the hospital so they could keep patients safe. She wrote, quote, "As relief nurses rolled in, the stress rolled off."
Team effort to help the community and to make sure all the hospitals had the staff that they needed.
If you need to make it to Walmart or you need to make it to Whataburger or everything, stay home.
They also helped restaurant workers get home safely, transported a woman having contractions to the hospital, and pulled countless vehicles from ditches. Kavanaugh says even people who weren't part of the club jumped in to help.
It was just overwhelming with the support that we got from people that just wanted to help the community. I'm proud of everybody that came in and supported us and helped us. I'm grateful for all the thank yous.
One nurse called the volunteers the real MVPs of the ice storm. The club's motto, "No Jeep Left Behind," proved it applies to people too.
I think it was a success with what we did this past storm, but we're ready for the next if we get one.
Now, the club is looking forward to continuing their work across the community in any way they can. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
I'm Vanessa Croy, and this is the news in San Antonio. Police say a motorcyclist driving recklessly, speeding and weaving through traffic is now fighting for his life after a crash on the north side. It happened just after 2 Friday afternoon on the southbound lanes of I-35 near Walsham and Eisenhower. You can see the mangled bike left behind after officers say the rider cut across 4 lanes of traffic, then slammed into 2 impact barriers before he was thrown from his bike. The man was rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Our murder suspect is still on the run, and San Antonio police are still searching for the man they say is wanted in a deadly shooting. So take a look. This is the man they're looking for. Investigators say 25-year-old Walter Whiten shot and killed Alan Roquemore and then took off. It happened off North Alamo Street on June 21st. Investigators say Roquemore was shot multiple times. If you have any information and could help police find this fugitive, you can call San Antonio Police. Right now, we're learning new details about a road rage shooting that left a 10-year-old girl fighting for her life. Police say this man, Brian Arceo, is now in jail, accused of opening fire during a confrontation happening Friday morning. Investigators say the girl was riding in the car with her parents when Arceo got aggressive after they honked at him as he was backing out of a driveway. He later fired shots into their minivan. An arrest warrant now reveals that Arceo's own 11-year-old daughter was in his car. He was taking her to school when he started shooting at that minivan. Well, he's now facing aggravated assault and child endangerment charges. At last check, the 10-year-old girl was rushed into emergency surgery. It's unclear how she's doing right now. And gunshots outside a popular restaurant in Live Oak sent police rushing to the scene. Live Oak police say officers were called out around 5:30 Wednesday to the Twin Peaks near IKEA Parkway for reports of shots fired. They say that Manuel Montes Jr. pointed a handgun toward the restaurant and then fired several rounds into the air and took off. They used witness descriptions, and they were able to track him down at a nearby home. Police tell us they found shell casings and a gun in plain sight inside his vehicle. Montes has been arrested and booked in the Bexar County Jail. He's now facing charges including DWI and deadly conduct. We now know the name of the suspects accused of robbing a man at gunpoint at a Northwest Side apartment complex Thursday morning. It led to an hours-long standoff. This is David Thurston and Michael Aguirre. They're now facing charges in connection to the violent robbery that happened just before 11 Thursday off Pin Oak Drive. That's off Loop 410. Police say a maintenance worker was making his rounds at some of the vacant buildings in the complex when those 2 men attacked. Police say they grabbed him by the shirt, put a gun in his face, and took off with his money. Police say that at first they spotted the two suspects on the patio of one of the vacant buildings and they told him to come down, but instead the duo ran inside the boarded up building and barricaded themselves inside. After almost 4 hours, SWAT team deployed tear gas and flashbangs and arrested them. A federal judge has ordered the release of 5-year-old Liam Conejo Romas and his father, Adrian Conejo Arias. The two were detained last week in Minnesota and then transferred to a detention center in Dilley. This photo of Liam in custody with ICE quickly went viral. KENS 5's Mike Jimenez has the details on the ruling.
Federal District Judge Fred Beery with the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas issued the ruling. Was also critical of the detention of Liam and his father. 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos and his father Adrian Conejo Arias were detained on January 20th while driving home from school near Minneapolis. A photo of Liam surrounded by ICE officers showing Liam wearing a bunny hat and carrying a Spider-Man backpack sparked an outcry across the nation. The images went viral, leading to more protest. Saturday, a federal judge ordered to temporarily block his deportation. After Liam and his father were taken into custody, they were then transferred to an immigration processing center in Dilley. Last week, Congressman Joaquin Castro and Representative Jasmine Crockett visited Liam and his father at the center, where Castro demanded Liam's release. Castro says, quote, "I've reached out to Liam's mom and lawyers to let them know I will continue to do everything I can to make sure he is safe." In Saturday's ruling, Judge Fred Beery criticized the government's pursuit of daily deportation quotas. He wrote, quote, "The case has its genesis in the ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children," unquote. Beery also cited the government's ignorance of the Declaration of Independence, quoting some of Thomas Jefferson's grievances against a would-be authoritarian king. Beery stated, quote, "We the people are hearing echoes of that history," unquote. After Liam and his father were detained, the Department of Homeland Security said its agents attempted to place Liam with his mother, but claimed she refused and abandoned him, an allegation disputed by the family. Saturday's ruling orders that Liam and his father must be released no later than Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. The ruling also states the family's attorney must be notified of the time and location of their release as soon as possible and at least 2 hours before their release. And if you would like to read the full opinion and order of the court and judgment, you can visit this story at KENS5.com. Mike Jimenez, KENS 5.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
Here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Ebony Coleman. A student loan debt weighs on college graduates across Texas. Lamar University is being recognized for keeping student loan borrowing low. Lamar University now ranks first in the state for the lowest average student debt among public four-year universities. 20 News reporter Spencer Plato spoke to one student who says she has seen great support through financial aid.
I definitely don't have as much student debt as some other students have.
Student loan debt shapes life after college for millions of Texans. But for Lamar University nursing student Emma Catlett, it's a smaller burden.
I went from possibly paying $2,000 for books to about $300 per semester. So it definitely helps a whole lot.
According to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, Lamar University ranks #1 in Texas for the lowest average student debt among public four-year universities.
Providing students with scholarships, either incoming students or our returning students. We have opportunities for all levels of students, just giving them the information so that they can be matched with those scholarship opportunities. And then of course we have different federal and state programs that we can offer to students.
Data shows 90% of full-time students at Lamar receive financial aid, and nearly half of graduates leave with no student loan debt at all.
We try to educate them on, really the benefits of receiving their education long-term, getting a better job, and what that payoff is going to look like for them. And I think that has a big impact on helping students understand debt.
Advisors say the benefits last well beyond graduation.
You receive a quality education, and being able to graduate without having that loan repayment is a huge benefit for students. A lot of times when you graduate, you're ready to kind of start life and buy a house or purchase a vehicle, start a family.
For Catlett, she encourages others to take advantage of available resources.
Go to the scholarship office, talk to them in person. Usually if you can finagle your way in there, they'll find something for you. And there's a lot of scholarships available at Lamar.
Now, Spencer Plato reporting the university says they encourage students to file for the free application for federal student loan, aids, or FAFSA, as well as scholarships early, even if you don't think you're eligible. We're learning more about a fatal plane crash that happened earlier this month on January the 8th. Investigators say a single-engine aircraft went down near Sabine Pass, killing the pilot Carroll. The plane had taken off from Louisiana and was headed to Galveston. The investigation report says just before 2:30, Creelo was cleared to descend. Then radar shows the aircraft entering heavy rain, making a right turn, and suddenly disappearing. The Coast Guard later found the wreckage scattered across a marshy area between Salt Lake and Night Lake. Officials say there was no fire and the plane broke apart on impact. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. And in Jefferson County, a former Texas game warden featured on Lone Star Law now faces a new felony charge. A grand jury indicted Justin Eddings for allegedly lying on a financial statement while seeking hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit. Now, this is the fourth county where Eddings faces charges. His attorney maintains his innocence. And United Way of Orange County is marking 100 years of service by taking on hunger through its Feed the Funnel event. Volunteers packed 100,000 meals for 4 local food pantries. Organizers say the effort shows both the growing need for food assistance and the power of neighbors helping neighbors across Southeast Texas.
Food insecurity is one of the top needs that was defined in our community needs assessment that we did a few years ago. And this year is the 100-year anniversary for United Way of Orange County. So we're tying that 100-year anniversary in with this food insecurity event. And we're bringing together 200 volunteers to put together 100,000 meals for Orange County.
United Way encourages volunteers and donors to get involved as they kick off their next 100 years of service. And hundreds of students at the Blanchette Elementary went home with a brand new book. The Spindletop Rotary Club donated more than 500 during the school's book fair. Micaiah Lay with the Spindletop Rotary Club says the program is ensuring every kid has access to books.
Not all families in our area are financially able to buy books, so we have a grant that we get from the district, and then we add our own money to it, and we supply these books for these kiddos.
This is the 4th year the Rotary Club has done this at Blanchette. And those were your headlines from Southeast Texas.
Hello and welcome to your East Texas Headlines. I'm Jimmy Searfoss. This week, CBS 19 held a Pot Forward event to help raise money for the local East Texas SPCA. And on Friday, we all came together to get into the community to raise some money. Robert De La Garza has more.
And today's game means more than ever, and how you can make a real difference by helping the animals right here in our community score a win and give these animals a second chance.
Well, it cost us at SPCA just over $100 to bring an animal into our adoption program.
Well, we can't do it. SPCA cannot function without donor dollars. Whether it's $5, $5,000, it doesn't matter. We're so appreciative of every dollar that's donated.
That's going to cover things like their medical care, vaccines, microchips, spay and neuter. So it's just really important that we have the support from the community so we can help these animals. All of the dollars that come to SPCA of East Texas are going to stay here in the community, local. They don't go anywhere else. So I would just say it takes a village. It takes a community, and we rely on everyone to come together and support us, and it's the only way we can be successful.
All right, somebody in your arms this morning with us, too.
That's right. This is Sugar. She's in our adoption program. She's about 3 months old.
And Sugar, you are so cute.
She was at the SPCA, and we fostered Abby, and so she just worked her way into our hearts real fast. And you know, she might not have had a chance at a life that we gave her if it wouldn't have been for the SPCA.
You take in these older dogs that are, harder to adopt out, so we bring them home and foster them, and you just see their personalities come out. And
help donate Dogs and Cats of East Texas.
I generally think that East Texas is a community that cares.
Warms my heart to give to them.
I think they care about people, they care about animals, and we really see that every time we come out here and ask for support. We tend to get it, and I think it's because people just have a big heart.
You'll donate by scanning the QR code on your screen right now, and stick around because we'll have more for it later on. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission is awarding a record $21.2 million in local park grants statewide. In East Texas, the city of Center is receiving $250,000 for Phase 2 renovations at American Legion Park, including walking trails, nature viewing areas, and new pavilions. Dangerfield will use nearly $89,000 to add ADA accessible playgrounds and make ball field improvements at Irvin Park. Gladewater is also receiving $150,000 for new playground equipment and sidewalks at Garland P. Ferguson Park. Well, 3 people were in jail this week accused of stealing from a food pantry that helps families in need in East Texas. Police in Tatum say Thomas Frazier, Amy Nicole Terry, and Haley Marie Dean face charges for organized criminal activity. Investigators say the group stole items from the Samaritan House thrift shop and food pantry on 3 separate occasions this month. Surveillance video shows them loading the items into a car before driving off. The case will be prosecuted by the Rusk County District Attorney's Office. Those have been your East Texas headlines. I'm Jimmy Searfoss.
Texas News Now is sponsored by Germania Insurance.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.